For 5,000 years, Zog the Neanderthal lay frozen inside a massive glacier. But on one sunny afternoon inside the Natural History Museum, his icy prison finally melted and completely shattered. Zog woke up, grabbed his wooden spear, and leaped directly through a thick glass window, landing bare feet first onto the roaring streets of New York City. He was immediately hit with a wall of sound. Massive yellow taxis roared past him, and steel skyscrapers blocked out the sky. Looking at this mechanical chaos, Zog was terrified. This diagram illustrates his immediate reaction. The tall, rigid shapes of the city seemed to be closing in from all sides, making him feel completely trapped in a cage of concrete. He crouched low to track footprints on the hard asphalt and sniffed a fire hydrant for fresh water. Every attempt to hunt failed. Even though the environment changed, he kept repeating the same rituals in a continuous loop. He was deeply stuck in a rut. When the surroundings change this drastically, those ancient survival instincts quickly become a fatal liability. The city was already winning. Standing on the hot pavement in a thick, dirty bearskin, Zog was sweating and smelling like a wet dog. This timeline shows the gap between Zog and the modern world. While technology moved toward the digital age, Zog's knowledge stalled at the stone spear, leaving his skills completely out of date. He was panting heavily, his dense frame struggling to move through the humid urban heat. By modern standards, he was entirely out of shape. That's when a cynical, fast-talking bird named Vinny the pigeon landed on a nearby mailbox to offer some perspective. Vinny warned that the constant noise and sensory overload would eventually drain his energy and take a heavy toll on his health. Prehistoric muscle is no match for the slow, invisible pressure of modern urban stress. The pigeon's message was simple. Zog had to learn the new rules of this street, or he wouldn't survive the night. If he kept charging at cars like they were mammoths, he was going to throw it all away. Vinny chirped that nobody was coming to help a time-traveling caveman. Whether he adapted or not was entirely up to him. But if he could figure out how this city worked, he might find a way to make life worthwhile here. The pigeon bobbed his head and gestured with his wings, while Zog just glared back with a blank, defensive expression. Survival isn't just about physical strength, it's about the willingness to accept new information. Zog didn't listen. He simply crossed his arms and smirked down at the tiny bird. He stood there like a stubborn know-it-all, convinced that his old ways were still the best ways. This diagram shows his internal state. By blocking out every warning the pigeon gave him, Zog felt a false sense of security. To him, ignorance is bliss. He didn't want to hear another word about the 21st century. He swatted the air with his hand to brush off the pigeon's advice. He squeezed his eyes shut as the city roared around him. He decided to turn a blind eye to the reality of the traffic and the sirens, hoping they would just disappear. But behind the arrogance, he was paralyzed by dread, a deep fear of rules he couldn't understand. When a massive garbage truck turned the corner, Zog saw a monster. He raised his spear and sprinted aggressively toward the metal grill. In the modern world, the most dangerous predator isn't a beast, it's the refusal to change.